Welcome into this week's edition of the Coaches Show. It's all about basketball once again this week. And joining me first, as always, is our head women's basketball coach, Dr. Britta Belanger. Coach, thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
And Coach, obviously, talking about a week where you played a couple of games and you went 1-1, had one really close win, had one really tough loss in overtime. A game where, maybe if you played just a little bit better in regulation, you wouldn't have seen the overtime, but you also can sit there and go, if we'd have closed out a little bit better, you'd have won that one as well, too. First, we'll talk about the win over East Miss. You go on the road, you outlast them, I think it's how I put on there, 49-45. But your thoughts overall on this game and how the girls were able to overcome some adversity throughout this game?
It was a defensive struggle on both sides. I mean, both teams, obviously, a 49-45 game. There's not a lot of offensive production. I looked up in the first quarter and I was like, are we ever going to score? Is either team ever going to score? We came out after halftime and we went a huge stretch without scoring the point. So very proud of our defensive effort. Defense has not been our calling card all season, and there's been some nights when I'm like, I don't know if we can guard. I don't know what we can do. And in this game, I didn't feel like we guarded well. And then I looked at the final score and I said, to hold somebody to 45 points, you had to guard very, very well. So struggled to score. Did a great job containing their guards, but really struggled to score. Missed too many chippies, too many easy layups, too many inside post feeds. We missed a lot of those, and we turned the ball over way too much. So happy to outlast them. Really happy to get a win. Scuba, Mississippi is kind of the middle of nowhere. It was the first time most of ours had ever been to Scuba. They've got a really nice gym. They've done a lot of new things. One thing they did that I don't really care for is the lighting in their gym. I walked in there and I said, are all the lights on? It's really dark in here. So that was a hurdle that we kind of had to overcome, and that was one thing we told our team before. We said, you can't let the lighting or the road trip or whatever like that be something that you use as an excuse. We've got to find a way to win, and fortunately we were able to do that. And
you look at this one, the box score, you outscored them 12-7 in the first quarter. They bounced back, outscored you 13-11, but you had a 23-20 lead at halftime. The big quarter for them was the third quarter. They outscored you 18-10. That's how they held a big 41 to, I believe, a 33-point lead there. And then the fourth quarter, you outscored them 16-7. So you doubled them up there. We talk about it all the time. You got to win at least two quarters to feel good. You won two, you won the outer two, and you won by more than what you lost by. That's how you get that win. And you look at it, Cam Pruitt had a great game in this one, 16 points, 12 rebounds. Imani Key, 12 points. 2 rebounds. Zion Nelson, not a lot of points, only 1 point in this one, but where she was huge for you was 9 rebounds. Mm-hmm. And another player that you and I have talked specifically about was Jay Robinson. Jay didn't give you a lot of points, gave you 5 rebounds, but the biggest thing in this was a couple of charges that she picked up.
Yeah, Jay Robinson is kind of a kid who's been hurt for us, and she's finally getting back, and she's finally getting back to the player that she was last year. And she's a player who knows scoring is not what Coach needs me to do. Coach wants me to go in there and defend and rebound, and every night I know that I'm going to get that from her. She took 2 huge charges, one in the first quarter at kind of a time when we were struggling and we just needed a little energy boost, and then one with under a minute left in the game to kind of seal the deal, to kind of get us a possession. We really got down big in that third quarter, and we made some runs. One thing Coach and I did is we kind of held our press in our pocket, and in the fourth we pressed them and they turned it over like 4 times, back to back to back, and we were able to get some quick, easy baskets. And so we really felt like that was something that as a coaching staff, we were happy that we did, and we felt like that benefited us. Zion Nelson, who had a huge game against Holmes, she had a huge offensive game, didn't have as great a game in this one, but those 9 rebounds, how many extra points did that give us? How many extra opportunities did that give us? Maddie Mitchell's not one that we call on to score, but we call on her to handle the ball all the time. And in this game, not only did she handle the ball for us, but she comes up with a huge steal late in the game to give us the lead and to kind of push us ahead. So sometimes points are not all that we need to talk about. Cam Pruitt has been a consistent figure for us all year, and we need her and Akila Hobson and Imani Key. We need those players to continue to score points, but we have other people who contribute in ways that's not scoring points, and that's just as valuable to our team.
I think, you and I have talked, I told you, that the biggest play was Maddie's steal.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just the steal, it was the steal without fouling. It was the going to coast, and then it was sinking the layup as well, too. We joke with Maddie. Sometimes that is hit or miss, the steal part, the coast part, that's the easy part. It's that soft finish, getting that layup to go in that sometimes is a little questionable. But on this play, it was all perfect for her, and really that's kind of what propelled that late run and got you that win. And then you look to this past Tuesday, you hosted Holmes. It was a team, again, that you had beat by 2 points to start the year. We talked about how they were playing different. We were a different team as well, too. And it really kind of felt that way. Early on, it felt like we didn't, we came out and scored the first 3 with Imani Key. And then it was kind of like they answered back, and it just took us a little while to answer back as well, too. Ultimately, you did find a way to tie this game and really fought back and overcame some struggles early and to force overtime. And again, you scored the first 7 unanswered points in overtime. Unfortunately, they responded with a 13-1 scoring run to close out the game, and that sounds really, really bad. But there were some key moments in there that if it just gone the opposite way, it would have been fine for our team, and you probably would have found a way to win. But your thoughts overall on this one?
Yeah, this was a disappointing loss, and we knew they were going to be a different team than the first game of the season. I remembered hardly anything about them because we've played 14 other games since we've played them. I thought, as far as our tenacity and our competitiveness and our toughness, I was really, really pleased with that, specifically in the second half. The first 12 minutes of the game, I may have been as mad as I've ever been because we did not come out and we didn't play with a sense of urgency. They were beating us down the floor in transition over and over again. Were we tired? Were we just lazy? Did we not think that they were going to do that? I don't know, but that really hurt us, and that was one thing we talked about in film after this game. Yes, we made some bad plays at the end of the game or some bad plays in overtime, but those transition baskets that you gave them the first 2 minutes of the game hurt us just as much as the foul late or the turnover late. I was really proud of our effort to be able to push this one to overtime. I'll be honest, we got down 6 or 8 with like a minute left, and I thought there's no way we're going to go to overtime. And we made some steals, we made some big plays, we had some timeouts, we were able to do some creative stuff. When we got to overtime and we rallied, I said, all right, this is going to go well. And you heard me, you were sitting right by the bench with 3 minutes left. I looked at him and said, y'all, 3 minutes is an eternity of time. And I felt like we relaxed a little too much. Felt like we celebrated a little too soon in the overtime. One thing that, and I go back and self-reflect, what could I have done better as a coach to help my team win? In overtime, we were awarded the 1 extra timeout. We pick it up in the backcourt. They're pressing. We pick it up in the backcourt. There's about 3 minutes left in the game. We're up 4, and I called timeout to keep us from getting the 10-second call. And looking back, I kind of wish I wouldn't have done that. I wish I would have just let us take in the 10-second call because I would have had my timeout later in the game to stop that 13-1 run. But at the time, you're in the moment. You don't know you don't know what's right or wrong. And had I not called it, do we turn it over and they get a layup and then back to back? You don't ever know how the game is going to shape out. So I'm really proud of our toughness and competitiveness. Holmes is a tough team. The home games hurt. We need to win the home games. Our road schedule is such a gauntlet. We've got to go to Itawamba, to Northeast, to Jones, to Pearl River. And so the home games are so important to win. But if you're going to lose one in this fashion where you fought for 40, 45 minutes,
Yeah, and you look at the box score in this one, it was a tale of 2 halves. They won the first and second quarters, outscored you 17-13. Second quarter was a little bit closer, 18-15. The third and fourth quarters belonged to your bunch. 14-12, you outscored them in the third. 19-14, you outscored them in the fourth, and that's how it was tied 61-61. And then in the overtime period, they outscored you 13-8, and that's how you get 74-69. And you look at this, and the two players who led you in scoring, doing the write-up earlier today, or earlier this week, you look at it and you go, these 2 players both set new career highs. I don't know if you were aware of that yet, but both Imani Key and Zion Nelson led you in points. Imani with 22, Zion with 18. Again, both career highs for both of them. And I think if you looked at that and you saw that and you think, well, 2 of our leading scorers set career highs, I think I like our odds at winning this one. And Imani also had 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, and a block. Zion with 8 rebounds, 3 steals, and a block. So those 2 filled up the stat sheets for you in this one.
Yeah, those 2 played really well. Zion Nelson in the first half, she was I felt like the only player who was really scoring. Imani Key scored some early, but in that first half, I looked at Coach Ray and I said, don't let me take her out, even though she's tired and even though she wanted to come out at one point because she was scoring and we needed that offensive production. I thought she was really good. I felt like this was kind of a breakout game for her because she's kind of been under the radar and silent some nights, and we need her to score. I thought Kim Pruitt did not have a great game in this game, and we're so used to her playing so well. Offensively, she didn't have a great game. She played fine defensively. She did a good job on the boards. Same thing, Akilah Hobson did not have a great game. We turned it over way too much late in the game. We turned it over too much, and we took some really bad shots late in the game that caused them to get transition opportunities. And all those things kind of put us on our heels defensively. I will say in the third and fourth quarter and in overtime, I felt like we did a really good job defensively, keeping them in front of us. We switched between, we played a little zone, we played a little man, and I felt like we did a really good job of that.
You just mentioned that. Akila flirted with a double-double. She had 9 points, 8 rebounds. And then Cam as well flirting with a double-double, 6 points, 13 rebounds, wow. 10 of those defensively. So, a great night defensively on the boards for Cam, just a little – not what we're used to seeing out of her offensively. On a normal night, Cam easily has a double-double in this game because of the 13 rebounds. But you turn the good thing is you got more games ahead. You get to turn the page on that one. It's over. It's done. Hey, we're still sitting good at 2-1 in conference play. There's a lot of conference games left. And the next one on the ballot is January 22nd, you're going to go over to Itawamba. You're going to play the Lady Indians, a team that is coming off a loss as well, too. So both teams coming in hungry to get back in that win column. What do you know about the Lady Indians coming into this one?
Well, 2-1 is a good spot to be. I would love to have been 3-0, but we're sitting in a good place in conference. This is one where we have to flip that page quick because we played last night, and today today we're going to practice, and then the next day we're going to go in and play Itawamba. It is the short week. It's the Martin Luther King holiday week. We all hate this week because of short prep and things like that. Basketball coaches like a lot of time to prep. I don't know if people know that. We're not like football coaches and baseball coaches who turn it around quick. We like time. I know Itawamba's a talented team. I know on paper they're talented. Their record is very good. Their guards are really good. In my opinion, they have the best guard in the conference in Tootie Lockett. I think she's very talented. They've got a couple wings who can really, really shoot it. Robin is a Nancy Gray product. Nancy Gray played man. Robin's going to play man. So that makes it easy. We know what to expect out of them. This is a difficult one because, number one, we've got to get on a bus and ride 5 hours in the rain and the cold and get off the bus and try to win. That's hard in any sport, no matter what you do. The other reason that this one is difficult is because most of Itawamba's players are from North Mississippi, 5 hours away from here. A lot of our players are from this area and south, the coast. Our kids don't know them. They knew some of the kids from Holmes. When Gulf Coast comes here, they know all those players. So not knowing them makes it a little bit harder because it makes the scout a little more difficult because they have not played against them in high school games or in AAU games or whatever. So that also makes it difficult. Northwest beat them. No team is unbeatable, so that's good. We're hungry for a win, and they're hungry for a win, so it should be a good game.
And then we'll turn and look ahead. I know you don't like to look too far ahead, but we'll go ahead and talk about this game that right now is scheduled for Monday. Winter weather coming through. We don't know if it's going to happen on Monday, but it's the next home game, so we'll go ahead and talk about it. You're going to host Kahoma tentatively on Monday. Obviously, if that gets changed, we'll let everybody know on our social media channels. But what do you know about the Lady Tigers coming into that one? I don't know if you've got to see much film on them yet, if they've played any of the common opponents or anything, but what do you know about that bunch?
Not very much. I know I want to play Monday. I know I want the winter weather to go away because when we have to start changing games and things like that, once again, basketball coach, we get off our schedule and I don't get my prep time. I've watched a little bit on Kahoma. They played one of the Itawamba games that I watched was against Kahoma, but I'll be honest, I was watching Itawamba and I didn't really pay attention to Kahoma. Don't know a lot. I know Coach Faulkner, who was at Jones last year, is there now, and she did a really good job at Jones. So, I expect him to be a tough, hungry opponent coming in. I know they've lost a few early, so I think they'll be even more hungry coming in because they know that they need to win some of those to stay in the playoff standings. Right. So let's just hope the winter weather stays away and we can prep for Kahoma and have a game Monday.
All right, well, hopefully the next time we're talking to you, we're going to get to talk about a couple of wins. If not, hopefully at least one win, because we know we're going to play on Thursday at Itawamba again. That game at 5:30, the game on Monday at 5:30 as well, too. Lady Wolves have a lot of exciting things happening despite falling against home 74-69 this past Tuesday. And then they beat East Miss on the road 49-45 last week to close out that week as well. Stick with us. After the break, we're going to talk about the Wolves men's basketball team. That heater has continued for them. Winning streak now up to 5 games. Coach Bolden joining us after this. Thanks for sticking with us through the break. Join me now, as promised, is our men's head basketball coach, Randy Bolden. Coach, thanks for joining me.
Well, thanks for having me.
And, Coach, obviously, the last time we talked to Coach Newman, we talked with him. We were saying hopefully we'd be able to talk about a couple of Wolves wins, and that's exactly what we're going to do. One of them was really, really close. One of them, not so much. It felt a lot closer than that 13-point margin. But the first one we want to talk about is going on the road over to East Mississippi. You pulled out a 69-68 thriller win. I say thriller. I was sitting at home watching that one right after the girls had pulled off their 4-point win, and I think I told you and Coach Stevens the next day. I said, "Can one of y'all find a way to just not make a game close?" I said, "My heart can't handle it." But your thoughts overall on how the guys were able to overcome a little bit of adversity on the road and find a way to get a big conference win?
Well, I mean, as you know, Kevin, when you go on the road, it's hard to win anyway. But I think the difference in that ball game was our execution down the stretch. I thought our guys showed toughness. We got stops when we needed them, and I thought we made it timely buckets, and we were able to propel and get the win. I thought Braun hit a shot that kind of got us going at that three-pointer, and we after that we got a stop and were able to make a free throw at the end to win.
Yeah, you talk about that, and you look at the box score. They outscored you by 2, and it was really right at the end of the first half. You had taken a 1-point lead. You let them get kind of a little bit of a deep three, a shot that I don't think as a coach you're upset that he put that up because of how deep it was. He just happened to make it. That made it 34-32 at halftime. You outscored them 37-34 in the second half, and you just talked about it. The 2 biggest plays of the whole game really were the 2 last times your guys touched the ball, and really you go back to the 3 last times, and kind of LeBron Deal. You and I talked about that. So he gave you every emotion he possibly could as a guard. The play before the 3, he drives down, beautiful drive. I think he just got a little caught up, maybe trying to get in the step back action, wasn't able to get the shot off perfectly. Turnover, your guys rebound. Your guys come back really well though, and you're only down 3 at that point, and then LeBron comes in, step back 3, and just drains it. Tie ball game right there. You mentioned it. You get a stop the next time you get down. They get called for a foul. Tristan Lucas gets you 1 of 2 from the line. You would have loved to have the 2 of 2, but hey, 1 of 2 gets you a lead. They rebounded that second free throw, called time, and unfortunately, if you were watching home, I told you didn't get to see it on the stream, but I saw the huddle video and the inbounds play. If they'd have had 2/10 more of a second, that play would have been a lot more dangerous for your bunch.
Absolutely. But again, getting back to Braun, I think Braun is a guy that he loves that moment. He loves to be in the moment. He wants to take the big shot. He wants the ball in his hands, and special players want to be in that situation, and he shows why he's a special guy and has a chance to be a good player within the next year or 2.
Right, and you look at the individual scores, guy. We just talked about Tristan Lucas was your leading scorer. He had 17. Tyrell Bowles had 14 and 8. Another really good game for him, even though he fouled out, and you had to rely on a couple of guys that you haven't had to rely on in situations like that. I think they really stepped up for you in Moo and Caleb. You also mentioned Morris Hammond, who had 12 in this one. He's been playing really well for you lately, and LeBron Deal had 10. Anytime you got 4 guys who are giving you double digits, you really like your odds of getting that win.
And that's what our focal point was early in the non-conference. We want to build our bench and build our guys to come off the bench and score for us and contribute in a variety of ways. And I think our guys are playing with a lot of confidence, and we got guys that's coming in starting to be consistent, and you can see down the stretch they're able to execute, and we're being able to pull off a few wins.
And then you go to this past Tuesday night, again, a game that was played on Tuesday because as a conference we don't play on MLK Day, which was this past Monday, and you beat the Holmes Bulldogs by 13. I think this is a victory that everybody across the league is going to go, okay, Co-Lin's probably really good and really for real, because Holmes had come in just 2 losses. They were undefeated in conference play as well too, both 2-0. And again, you beat them by 13, and a game that because of how hot Holmes got from the 3-point line, that's as close as it was. That's why it was so close in the first half, and in the second half, it really felt like your guys just kind of kept them at an arm's distance.
Yeah, well, kind of like Holmes, we hang our hats on the defensive end, and I thought we gave a great defensive effort against them, and we were able to get timely stops. Of course, like you say, in the first half, they were 6 for 10 from the 3-point line, and they were just making some tough shots. But I think as a whole, I thought we were pleased with our effort defensively, and we were able to. Again, we had multiple guys in double figures. Everybody had guys step up and make shots and just contribute in a variety of ways. And I think when we're doing that, we're a tough team to beat.
Yeah, and you look at it, you outscored them 35-32 in the first half, despite that 6 of 10 from 3. And then in the second half, you outscored them by 10, 46-36. That's how you get the 81-68. You just mentioned it. 4 guys again in double figures, led by Tyrell Bowles, had 22. I think that's the 5th time this season he's gone 20+. Mustafa Salik Mu gave you a great propelling off the bench. 15 points off the bench, along with 3 rebounds and a couple assists. Coy Williams and Dylan Craigett, you had some great guard play out of them, 12 points each. And anytime those two are giving you double-digit scoring figures from your guard positions, again, that's another secret to success for you.
Absolutely, because Tyrell brings a lot of attention. He commands a double team. Teams are not going to play him one-on-one, so. And he does a good job of finding open teammates and getting them open. And our guards did a good job of knocking shots down or driving the finish. So as long as we're able to distribute the ball out and share it, and the biggest thing, I think we had double-figure assists. I think we maybe had 15 assists, and that's big for our team. We shared well, and when you're a guy, we got a guy like Tyrell that can score the ball that well, but he's a guy that loves to pass it as well, so that makes us that much dangerous.
Looking at the box score, 17 total assists, and 9 of those came combined from Coy and Dylan. So again, they're just pivotal to that success. A guy that want to give flowers to, again, we talked about him just a second ago, Morris Hammond. Morris gave you 9 and 8, nearly gave you a double-double off the bench. He's a guy that we don't get to herald a lot because he's just a very quiet role player for you, but I think he's a very essential role player for your team.
Well, yeah, you say quiet, but he's the guy that he's the glue to winning. And Morris is a winner, and he does whatever it takes to win. If it's scoring that night, if it's guarding that best perimeter guy, if it's rebounding, he does whatever it takes to win, and we depend on him a lot to just make plays. He made some big shots late in the game against Holmes, and not only that, he rebounded. So he's just a guy that he's a winner, and we feel good when we have him on the floor.
And now we're going to turn the page. We're going to look ahead to the next couple. We know for sure this Thursday we're going to Itawamba. What do we know about the Indians coming into that one? I know that's a team that's red hot as well too. I believe they're only have 1 loss in conference play or no losses. But that's a team who, because you're up there, that makes them that much more dangerous. You've got to go about 5 hours, almost 5 hours on a bus, get off a bus and get ready to play. And, for a lot of teams that's tough, but fortunately for your bunch, they've had to do that a couple of times already this year, so they're kind of battle-tested in that sense.
Yeah, well, we tried to prepare the schedule for a conference. Our non-conference, we tried to prepare for conference. And again, about Itawamba, I think they're arguably one of the most talented team in the league. From I think they probably got 1 to 7, they probably got 7 of the most talented guys in the league. So it's going to be a challenge. They can score. Their guard play is really, really good. They scored at a high clip. So we're going to have to buckle down, guard, and get stops and try to rebound the ball and just stick to what we do. We want to focus on what we do and try to build from there.
Yeah, and we're going to go ahead and preview this one with the understanding of this game may not happen on Monday because of some winter weather that's coming through, but Monday we are scheduled to host Kahoma. What do we know about the Tigers coming into that one? Obviously, it's great to have them here in the friendly confines of Mullen, but what do you know about that bunch when they come here next week?
Talented, really, really talented. I think they've only lost 1 in the league thus far. They played a really tough schedule as well, non-conference. So they're battle tested. They play hard. Coach Kennan got them playing really hard, and it's going to be a tough game. So we got to make sure we're ready when that time comes.
So lots of good things happening for your bunch. They're a fun bunch to watch. That even if they do maybe give you a little bump in cardiac rhythm every now and then, make you feel like you're close to having that heart attack. But they're a fun bunch to watch. It's been fun to watch them grow on the court as well too. Lots of good things happening. We hope the next time we talk to you, we're talking about a couple of more wins, and we're running that 5-game winning streak to a 7-game winning streak. So again, lots of good things happening for the Wolves. They win another couple of games in conference play, extend their winning streak to 5, move to 3-0 in conference play with a road win against East Mississippi, 69-68. Beat Holmes at home, 81-68. The next 2 on the road Thursday at Itawamba, 7:30 tip-off there, and hosting Kahoma, 7:30 tip-off as well too. Again, that game on Monday. May not happen on Monday because of the winter weather that's coming through. Stick to and tune in to all of our social media accounts. We'll give you all the information as we have it available for both games. Women will be on the road as well with the guys on Thursday and then hosting Kahoma as well on Monday. I'm Kevin Kyzar, your sports information coordinator here at Co-Lin. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you next week.